I have a dog in my lap. Say hi. Hello, Internet. My name's Belle. Today we're gonna talk about positivity. All right, we're back. And today I am going to talk to you about the question I get asked the most. How the fuck do I get started? Especially in fitness and in nutrition, there's not one right way to do it. There are so many different ways that are gonna work for different people. I think a lot of this is just trial and error. Eventually you're gonna figure out what works for you and what works for your body. I think starting is the hardest part, and I think a lot of people would agree with me. And so today I'm going to talk to you guys about how I got started, both as far as fitness is concerned and nutrition. They're two completely different journeys, honestly, but I kind of took them simultaneously, and so I figured I might as well just talk about them both in the same video. It just makes sense. But we're gonna get started with fitness, because I think that's the easy one. Nutrition's the hard part. Working out's the easy part. Well, a long time ago, I did a whole bunch of random shit when I was a kid. Literally almost every sport except for the big four. So by the time I got to high school, I was a 3-sport athlete. I was a gymnast, a cheerleader, and a lacrosse player. And then I went to college, and I had thought about cheering in college, but ultimately I decided to stop focusing so much on sports and kind of just have a college experience, whatever that means. But for me, it apparently meant turning into a lazy piece of shit. And so by the time I graduated college, I had put on like a solid 30 pounds probably. And I'm gonna wait for Hank to stop drinking water. He's really thirsty, I guess. Okay, thanks, Hank. It wasn't until the end of my senior year that I kind of realized, holy crap, like, I put on a bunch of weight, I'm not healthy, like, this isn't who I am, I gotta make a change. I didn't know what to do, and especially because I never really had to think about it before, I didn't know how to do it now, because before, it just came as part of being on a team and being an athlete. You know, I do have a lot of anxiety. I am someone who's very shy, and so the thought of going to the gym by myself and having no idea what to do was terrifying. So I decided I'm not doing that. And what I decided to do was run. It was cheap, it was easy, I could do it alone. It was something that I didn't really have to think about, and so that's why I decided I was just gonna start running. Turns out, I was in terrible shape, and I couldn't run for more than a solid minute without absolutely dying. I eventually found, by way of internet searching, the Couch to 5K program. So what it did for me was break down my runs into jog and walk intervals. Eventually, as the weeks went on, you were jogging longer and walking less. And so eventually you kind of build up to 3 miles or 3.1 miles, whatever. That really worked for me. I was running 3 miles a day, you know, almost every day for a long time. And then I decided that I wanted to start getting strong again, you know, especially because of gymnastics. Gymnasts are very strong athletes, and I kind of always took pride in that when I was younger, and so that was something that I wanted to return to as an adult. So I started doing HIIT workouts in my living room. I literally was just Googling as many free HIIT workouts as I could find online. So they would involve like push-ups and lunges and, you know, a lot of plyo work. You know, at a certain point I was like, okay, I can only do so much in my own house. Like, I guess I have to go to the gym. Once I decided to go to the gym, I decided I was gonna break up my workouts by muscle groups, which is a really common thing that people do, like legs, arms, shoulders, chest, back. And the way I figured out what to do, I would literally just Google like best arm exercises. I would pick 4 or 5 exercises for each muscle group, and I would just rotate throughout the days, and I would always end a session with, you know, like 30 minutes of cardio. And I did that for a while, and I definitely was getting stronger, but I was also getting bored. And so after a while of doing that on my own, I eventually found CrossFit, and now that's what I've been doing for the last 3 years. CrossFit keeps me excited. I haven't gotten bored in 3 whole years, and I think that that's the major takeaway, is you have to find something that excites you. I don't care if it's powerlifting, bodybuilding, salsa dancing, yoga. You have to find something that's gonna make you wanna get out of bed and go put in the work. It took me a long time to get there. From the moment I decided to start running to the moment I found CrossFit, it was 2 whole years. And now eventually I found the thing that keeps me fit and keeps me healthy and keeps me excited. And so while I was doing this whole fitness overhaul, I was also simultaneously changing my diet. I went back to the internet. When I tell you guys that this journey was just so much Googling, like I was Googling everything and I was scouring the internet for answers, and I would have to decide what was bullshit and what was not. So I landed on the decision to eat clean. I did not eat any foods that came in a package. 100% whole wheat foods still come in packages, but I still included those in my diet, so that was kind of my one exception to the package rule. That immediately cleaned up my diet right away. You know, when you eliminate any food that comes in a package, you're only left with healthy things. It was a really simple way to clean up my diet, and I think when you're starting out, keeping it simple is very important. And so along with eating clean, I also decided to restrict my calories. I'm not gonna tell you the number because it honestly was too low and I probably should have been eating more. But I mean, the purpose and my advice that I would still give to somebody else starting out is that I was making sure I was hitting a deficit. I downloaded MyFitnessPal, I was tracking everything in that. And so I would input my exercise, I would know how many calories I burned, and then I would just make sure that I was not eating more than I was burning. Now, I will tell you this. Today, do I care about calories? No, I don't track them. I don't think about them. I think calorie counting is good for beginners. I think it's easy to wrap your head around, it's easy to keep track of, and I think it works for people starting out. In the first year or so, after I got started, I lost 25 pounds. And so even after I lost the weight, I kept doing that because it was working for me and I had no reason to change it. You know, eventually I started getting busy, tracking calories became more tedious, and paleo was something that was talked a lot about in the CrossFit community. And so I had been doing CrossFit for about a year or so when I finally kind of gave in and I was like, okay, I'll see what this paleo thing is all about. And I will say this, I am not paleo anymore, but paleo did work for me for a long time, and I'll tell you why. I knew what foods I could eat and what foods I shouldn't eat, and I didn't have to worry about how much I was eating. I would eat till I was full and I would stop. I didn't have to think about it. I have now revamped my diet and I am eating rice and bread and things like that, and I am instead counting macros instead of calories. My point is just that, just like my fitness journey, there was a lot of trial and error in my nutrition journey, and there was a lot of different phases in which different things were working for me. And when they were working, I let them work. And when they stopped working, I decided to make a change. You have to be patient because it's not going to happen quickly. You have to keep it simple and you have to figure out what works for you. It is absolutely a process, and you just have to be ready to put in the work to go through that process. It will be beneficial for you in the end. It's just gonna be a lot of hard work in the beginning, figuring out what it's gonna take for your body to respond the way you want it to. Whether it's weight loss or not, whether you just wanna be healthy, okay, what exercise makes you feel good? What food makes you feel good? It doesn't always have to be about aesthetics either. In general, whether it's exercise or whether it's your diet, getting started is always the hardest part. And you have to know that going in. Anyway, that's all I've got today. I really hope it helped. I've got some more fun things in store for you guys. I promise we're leaving this apartment soon. I'm not just gonna talk at you forever. So definitely hit subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you all again. Today we're gonna talk about, ow! Bit my nose.